Well, the United States is pulling millions in funding from the modified RNA shot development space. What exactly is Canada doing? Well, they're doubling down and investing in it, of course. So let's dig in. All right, let's dive into a tale of two countries when it comes to these so-called modified mRNA vaccines, a technology that's being pushed as the future of medicine. But let's be real, it's kind of like playing Russian roulette with your genes. On one side, we have the United States under Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., finally waking up to the dangers and pulling the plug on this experimental madness. On the other hand, Canada is doubling down, entangling itself deeper with Big Pharma giants like Moderna, all while ignoring the red flags waving in our faces. But let's start with the good news from south of the border. On August the 5th, U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, that's BARDA, is terminating 22 mRNA vaccine development projects. It's $500 million being redirected away from this flawed platform and towards safer, more effective alternatives that might actually work against mutating viruses. Kennedy reviewed the science, listened to real experts, not the ones on Big Pharma's payroll, and acted decisively. He pointed out that these mRNA shots fail to protect against upper respiratory infections like COVID or the flu, all based on data that we've seen play out in real time.
Hi, it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here, your HHS secretary. At HHS, we have a division called the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, or BARDA. BARDA drives some of our most advanced scientific research. It funds developments of vaccines, drugs, diagnostics, and other tools to fight emerging diseases and national health threats. Over the past few weeks, BARDA reviewed 22 mRNA vaccine development investments and began canceling them. Let me explain why. Most of these shots are for flu or COVID, but as the pandemic showed us, mRNA vaccines don't perform well against viruses that infect the upper respiratory tract. Here's the problem. mRNA only codes for a small part of the viral proteins, usually a single antigen. One mutation and the vaccine becomes ineffective. This dynamic drives a phenomena called antigenic shift, meaning that the vaccine paradoxically encourages new mutations and can actually prolong pandemics as the virus constantly mutates to escape the protective effects of the vaccine. Millions of people, maybe even you or someone you know, caught the Omicron variant despite being vaccinated. That's because a single mutation can make mRNA vaccines ineffective. The same risk applies to flu. After reviewing the science and consulting top experts at NIH and FDA, HHS has determined that mRNA technology poses more risks than benefits for these respiratory viruses. That's why, after extensive review, BARDA has begun the process of terminating these 22 contracts totaling just under $500 million. To replace the troubled mRNA programs, we're prioritizing the development of safer, broader vaccine strategies, like whole virus vaccines and novel platforms that don't collapse when viruses mutate. Let me be absolutely clear. HHS supports safe, effective vaccines for every American who wants them. That's why we're moving beyond the limitations of mRNA for respiratory viruses and investing in better solutions. Thank you.
In the United States, they're not pouring more taxpayer dollars into a sinkhole that's caused arguably more harm than good. This is a win for informed consent, for true health freedom, and for holding the line against unproven tech that's been rushed through without proper analysis. Now, contrast that with what's happening here in Canada, where our government is all in on mRNA, treating it like the golden ticket for everything, from COVID to cancer. Back in February 2024, Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada celebrated a major milestone with the completion of Moderna's brand new mRNA vaccine production plant in Laval, Quebec. This state-of-the-art facility was backed by over $2.2 billion in government investments since 2020. It's to churn out up to 100 million modified RNA doses a year. It's part of a long-term agreement with Moderna that started during the pandemic, supposedly to boost domestic production and create jobs. But let's peel back those layers, because this isn't just about vaccines. It's about embedding mRNA tech into our biomanufacturing sector, partnering with researchers and companies to expand it beyond infectious diseases. And it's not stopping there. At the University of British Columbia, experts like Peter Coulis, who co-invented the lipid nanoparticles that make these shots possible, are touting Canada's leadership in RNA vaccines, extending from COVID to personalized cancer treatments. A recent UBC article gushes about how self-amplifying RNA could reduce doses, cut costs, and tackle melanoma or pancreatic cancer recurrence. Meanwhile, health experts in the Globe and Mail are wringing their hands over Kennedy's cuts, warning that this will undermine global pandemic preparedness and fuel vaccine hesitancy. They defend mRNA as safe and effective, claiming it's saved millions of lives and offers rapid updates for new threats. But hold on, safe and effective? We've heard that big pharma marketing mantra before. So let's talk about what this technology really is. These aren't Sorry to interrupt this programming, but unfortunately, YouTube still clings to censorious policies, including but not limited to medical misinformation. They say that claims that contradict health authority guidance on safety, efficacy, and ingredients of currently administered and approved vaccines are strictly prohibited. And a real kicker in the vaccine misinformation section is that you can't make claims that vaccines alter a person's genetic makeup, even if the technology was mislabeled as a vaccine. So this report, critical of some of those things and finding evidence of them, sadly can't be shared in full here. Please click the link in the description box below to be redirected to the full report, or as always, follow us on Rumble or subscribe directly to rebelnews.com so that you never miss a report. Thank you, and I will see you on the uncensored side.